Carl, thanks for joining us.
Good to be with you.
It's said that the world economy depends on the U.S. consumer. Do you agree with that?
I do, and it's perhaps never been more true than it is today. Consumer spending accounts for 70% of American GDP, but more importantly, we also import 2.5% of our GDP from other countries. It's about $400 billion a year that other countries on net are expecting us to buy from them. And with other areas of the world struggling, or several of them anyway, many countries are devaluing their currencies to actually make their products cheaper for our consumers in the hope that they'll buy more of them.
So Carl, how well positioned are U.S. households to spend at the moment?
In my view, very well. We've created a lot of new jobs over the last 2 years, and the incomes that come with them will add spending power to American households. The equity markets have been very kind to investors. That creates what economists call a wealth effect, which is that if your portfolio is doing well, you're much more likely to spend a little bit more money. And for those households who emerged from the crisis with too much debt, they've done a good job in the intervening years of working that down. The cost of carrying the debt is very modest. And so some families have been able to return to more normal levels of spending, which should sustain consumption in the United States through the new year.
So are we seeing consumers taking on more debt to continue their spending?
Interestingly, the data show us that there's perhaps a new frugality. Credit card standards have actually been getting easier and easier, and yet people's use of credit cards is flat over the last 12 months. In addition, some had said that in the middle 2000s that our houses had become piggy banks for us, with home equity not quite recovered to where it was and lending standards different from what they were 10 years ago. Fewer families are tapping into their equity as a source of spending. And finally, the one area of household debt that's been expanding is student debt, which is used for a very specific purpose, but certainly not at retailers.
At the same time, are there issues on the horizon that could limit U.S. consumers?
There are a couple that I would mention. First, recent reports that look at the income quintiles in the United States show that some have done very well, but the bottom quintiles in our country have not done as well, with incomes and wealth that have actually retreated over the last 3 years. So those families may still remain somewhat limited in the years ahead in their ability to spend. In addition, the data on how well prepared American families are for retirement is a little alarming, in that many don't have sufficient assets or haven't planned enough, and they'll have to work longer and save more in order to enjoy their golden years.
Well, Carl, as always, thanks for your time.
My pleasure.
Thank you for listening. For more insights from our economic research team, visit northerntrust.com/view.